All right, good evening, guys. Tonight I want to read an article to you that I came across last week. It's from Newsweek. It's titled, Jack Smith Spent Over $50 Million Prosecuting Trump Before Cases Collapse. It was published on November 12, 2024 at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right, let's get into it. Not going to read the entire article to you, but just enough for you to get a gist of it. All right. Jack Smith's office has spent at least $50 million in his unsuccessful prosecution of Donald Trump, according to Newsweek calculations. Newsweek has repeatedly sought further detail of spending in Smith's office through a Freedom of Information request and through communication with the federal government's Freedom of Information Ombudsman. The Justice Department replied last January that there are unusual circumstances to the request because Smith's office is not officially part of the DOJ, and therefore the department does not have to reply within the Freedom of Information Act time limits. We'll get to more of the background, but at this point, Jack Smith's two cases have been dropped by Jack Smith, right? Number one, because President Trump, he won in a landslide victory this past November 5th against Kamala Harris, who basically ran on hate Trump rhetoric. But the writing was on the wall when Trump won all 7 swing states, and he basically swept the electoral votes from those states. We're going to get into the numbers here. Just wanted to. Okay, here we go. Department of Justice financial disclosures show that between Smith's appointment on November 18th, 2022 and March 31st, 2023, his office directly spent $5,428,579, which included employee salaries and benefits of $2.7 million, rent, communications, and utilities of nearly $500,000, and contractual services of $1.9 million. Contractual services include $1.7 million on litigation and investigative support, $143,000 for IT or information technology and computer services, and $63,000 for transcripts. In addition to this direct spending, the Department of Justice spent $3.8 million supporting Smith's office, including bodyguards for Smith. I wonder why he needed bodyguards, right? Persecuting a political enemy is tough work. This indirect spending includes hours worked by agents and investigative support analysts, as well as the cost of protective details for the special counsel when warranted, the Department of Justice disclosed. The direct and indirect spending for this period was $9.2 million of taxpayer money at the federal level. Your dollars, my dollars went to the persecution of Donald Trump, which failed. The two cases brought against Donald Trump by Jack Smith's office was the January 6th election interference case and the classified documents case. Smith's direct spending jumped to $7.3 million for the 6 months between April 1st, 2023 and September 30th, 2023. This included salaries and benefits of $4.8 million, rent, communications, and utilities of $731,000, travel expenses of $410,000, and contractual services of $1.2 million. Wow, that's a lot of money to go after your political opponent to make sure that he doesn't get reelected, which happened anyway. It's just a total waste so far. Indirect spending on his office by the Department of Justice rose $7.2 million, almost as much as Smith's direct spending. This brings the total direct and indirect spending for the second period to $14.7 million. For the period October 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, Smith's office had direct expenditure of $6.6 million. Of taxpayer money, I should say. I said it again and I'll say it over and over again. This is a waste. Just think of the amount of money that they could have used $50 million on during these periods. Could have used it on our own citizens, the ones that needed it the most, like homeless veterans. But I digress. That included salaries and expenses of $4.1 million, travel costs of $256,000, rent, communications, utilities of $783,000, and contractual services of $1.4 million. Indirect Department of Justice spending on Smith's office for this period was $5.2 million. Total direct and indirect expenditure for this period, right, for the third period was $12 million. I'm rounding up, folks, just in case you haven't noticed. That brings total direct and indirect expenditure from November 18, 2022 to March 31st, 2024 to $35 million. The Department of Justice has not yet released figures from April 1st, 2024 and September 30th, 2024, or the figures beyond that. The average of the three reported periods is basically $12 million. If we add that for the period from April 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2024, that brings a total of $47 million. This figure excludes the expenditure from September 30th onward, which will push his office's total expenditure well past $50 million and likely closer to $60 million by the time Trump takes office on January 20th of 2025. On January 4th, 2024, Newsweek, I'm not going to get into all that. The link to the article will be in the description below, but just a quick recap of what this article was saying. $50 million wasted. $50 million of taxpayer money wasted on the persecution, Biden-Harris administration's persecution of a political opponent who toyed with the idea that he was going to run in 2020, early 2022, late 2021. Trump basically, after he was toying with that idea, Biden came out in a news conference and said on November 9th of 2022, Biden basically dared Trump to run because Biden said that he was going to use every constitutional legal means to prosecute Trump for his crimes. Right? So after November 9th announcement by Biden, Trump came out on November 15th and said officially at a news conference or the way he officially announces these things that he intended to run in the 2024 re-election bid for the White House. 3 days later, Jack Smith was appointed special counsel to look into those two cases, the election interference via J6 and then the classified documents case. And so it's no wonder why more than half the country voted him back in as the 47th president of the United States because we smelled this. It didn't look right. If Trump didn't run, if he didn't run, they wouldn't have tried to go after him, weaponize the DOJ to go after him the way they did. 34 felonies, 91 indictments, cases in New York, cases in Fulton County, Georgia, cases at the federal level. All of that would have been non-existent if former President Trump just stayed in Mar-a-Lago in Florida and did the things he loved to do, like hang around his family, his grandchildren, play golf, and partake in anything else, eating McDonald's, whatever. He wouldn't have been bothered with any of this stuff. But since he officially announced that he was running in 2024 for the bid for the White House, they trumped up these charges. But I want to stick to these two federal cases by Jack Smith. $50 million of taxpayer money wasted. And all Jack Smith's going to do is drop the case. I mean, up to now, it's December 2nd, 2024. These cases are all but dropped. I think final paperwork has to go through to make it official. But for the most part, I think Trump is in the clear with these two federal cases. If you like this, let me know what you think. Comment in the comment section below. And have a blessed night. Have a blessed day. We need to keep abreast of current events because we can no longer live in silos. We have to look at what's going on in the political landscape in order for us to see how it affects us and our families, and we can plan accordingly, right? All right. So God bless. See you later.